I was motivated to get back into learning because I felt that I was at a period in my time in my life that I actually enjoyed learning and enjoyed studying as well. And I also felt that I was ready to learn about more areas of engineering or more areas of my discipline. I chose to study online purely because there wasn't really any other choice. This was during COVID. The online studying afforded a degree of flexibility. I could do it in the evenings, could do it at the weekends. So it was really good from that point of view. I chose the University of Aberdeen purely because that was the courses that were available, and the course that I wanted to do was available via the online portal. Day-to-day life whilst I was studying was, I have my normal job that I do, which is being a structural engineer working for my company. Online learning fitted in really well with that because I was able to fit the studying in around what was going on with work and what was going on with home. I purely fit the studying around my schedule because I just carved out a piece of time on a Friday night is when I did my studying. Finished work about 4 o'clock and then had dinner, and then in the evening went through, put the computer on, watched the online lectures, did my tutorials, might have had a glass of wine or a beer when I was doing it, had the dog sitting beside me, and enjoyed my studying. When the online tutorials were on, I knew when they were on, so I was able to plan my work around about that so I could join in on them. It was easier to do it, when you give yourself a bit of a timetable and you carve a bit of time aside for it. To relax and take my mind off studies and work, I fly fish and I also spend time with the family. We quite often go for walks in and around Deeside. The challenges that I faced while studying were probably more to do with just getting into the habit of the studying routine, which I hadn't done for a long time. So basically carving a piece of time during the week where I committed myself to doing the coursework and watching the lectures. Because everything was online, that was actually relatively easy. Everything was pre-recorded. It was only the tutorials which were live. But again, there was a couple of options of when we could do them. So I was really just getting back into that self-discipline as well. I mean, relatively everything was really easy. The actual getting set up online and rolling through the university website was relatively painless. I found support for those challenges from my wife, telling me to get a bit more disciplined, and actually probably from my children, because they've been studying, and obviously my nagging of telling them to be more disciplined about studying, I had to turn back on myself. I felt part of the university community while studying online via the tutorials and actually the chat group as well. On the engineering course, there was software that I was used to using that other students weren't familiar with using, so I was able to give them a bit of guidance. There was also certain engineering methodologies or techniques that on the wave energy course that I was already familiar with. And again, there was students that had joined that course that didn't have that background of experience, so I was able to give them some advice and tips about that as well. So it was very interactive. It was really good, actually. I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel laborious. It didn't feel forced. I think studying as an older student and also somebody that's already got a career, I think you get to a point where you actually thirst knowledge. And I found that certain parts of the course I was consuming, and I was actually going out with the curriculum to find more knowledge because I actually found it really interesting. And the difference between studying when I was a teenager coming into my 20s, it felt a lot more forced, whereas having worked in an industry for 25 years and having children, I actually felt it was a hobby. It didn't feel binding. It didn't feel like something that I had to do. I really enjoyed it. I purposely did the courses to enhance my knowledge in areas of my career and my speciality. I've used these in practice. I've used these in the workplace. So my purpose of doing the education wasn't to go off and go get a master's. It was pretty self-serving. It was to help me understand more what I do as my job. I find what I've learned is really useful, and I apply it almost on a weekly basis when I'm interacting with people or when I think about what I'm doing. I've enjoyed doing the courses so much that I've applied for another one. So again, to get more knowledge and experience and apply it into what I do on a day-to-day basis. I'm most proud of from completing these courses that I got a far better result in them than I did when I was at university. So both courses that I completed, I finished in the top end of the class, which was far better than what I achieved when I was at university. I would fully recommend studying online with the University of Aberdeen. The courses that are available are very good. The process of becoming a student is really quite easy, and then the actual following the course and the course material is very well laid out. The tutorial process is very interactive. The help is there for if you do have trouble with the IT or you do have trouble with course content. The lecturers are available, and then the other members of the course are able to support you. There's a good community feel when you're on the course itself. I'm very, very impressed with the content that is taught as well, because I found that the content was very relative and useful to what I do in my day-to-day business. How things have changed for me since I've completed the course, I would say that my well-being and my whole philosophy of life is a lot more enlightened and enjoyable. This is partly from working for myself and owning my own business, being able to do different types of projects that I want to do, but also the courses that I've learned, particularly probably the more human factor side, has been a kind of more given me a greater enlightenment of my own well-being and my own kind of philosophy in life as well. So.